right? And we understand time's going faster, and they're literally speeding out this new policy. I know in India they have it rolled out already. So in India you have a social score, government access and whatnot. All of that is through this same technology as well. Jamaica, they're rolling that out as well, right? So, and I worry about places like Jamaica, and I tell you why. I mean the islands as a whole, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you see in the islands, maybe times have changed, but not everybody's walking around paying stuff with their phone in the islands. In the island, there's still hand-to-hand transaction, cash money. So with them now eliminating this, what does this do? This allows them to see everything that you are doing on the blockchain. Where you spend your money, who you spend your money with. In fact, if you're even allowed to spend your money. Because all of this will be linked into the credit score and all of that, right? Sister Shay, you want to say something? So America has, what are they calling it? The real ID, and that's pretty much a digital ID as well, right? Now, as I said, we are still waiting for ours to get rolled out, but we know, as I said, from Ford first came into office, he says everybody will have a digital ID by so-and-so, right? So, let's get into the lesson. We'll talk about some more of these things and as we go through the lesson. So the title of the lesson, I said, be alert, the mark is here. There have been many signs in the past that show the mark of the beast is slowly approaching. With each year, the satanics become bolder with their promoting of the mark. And it's to the point where it can no longer be ignored, right? So what we're seeing right now, we're at a point where this can no longer be ignored. The financial system is going to change as a effect, life in itself. Slowly but surely, it's going to affect us, right? Like every other policy that they have rolled out in the last 4 years. It sounds good, security, safety, but eventually, we feel it, right? And the inconvenience of it. But let's continue. So the question is, are you preparing yourself for a world where you will be operated solely on faith in the Most High? Or are you prepared to be on the side of those who have decided to put their faith in the beast system or Satan's society? And really and truly, that's what's fastly approaching, the choice, right? We're heading in a time where all of us will have to make a choice. And that choice is, do we have faith in the Most High? And we follow Him and allow our faith to rest in His hands? Or do we lean on our own understanding and operate in fear and give in to eventually what we know government will be acting, right? And I'm going to say to some degree, some of us, we kind of bought in for a time period. And, we saw the truth of the matter. And we understand that giving in to what they want is really, really and truly not in our best interest. In a lot of cases, they're looking to kill mankind. They're looking to kill the people. Right? And it's sad because, what's crazy about this? They've been selling us these ideals for ages. You guys remember this conversation? There's too much people on earth? Too much people on earth. We don't have resources. And I remember some of us would say, well, yeah, I agree that, we got too much people on the earth. Some of us would agree with it. And we're not openly saying it. But, they need to get rid of some people. Because if you agree with the idea we got too much people on the earth, you see it as a problem. Yeah. Where us as people of faith, we understand that the Most High made it efficient enough for all generations. In fact, it's set up in a way where the world will never be over-inhabited. In fact, and we see the mindset that they do. They cramp us in little cities. But yeah, you start driving out of Ontario and saying, hold on, there is a whole heap of land out here. There's enough land for all of us. Right? But all of this is by design. So, let's take a look at the mark again to evaluate our walk and what we have been preparing ourselves for, right? Say again? No, not today, right? So today there will be no youth ministry or children ministry. It's communion today. So let's get Luke chapter 12, verse 37.
All right, so we're going into the book of Luke, chapter 12. We'll be reading verses 37 down to 46. Beginning with verse 37, and that reads, "Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them sit down to meat."
Right, so the Bible says, blessed are the servants who what?
Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them.
Right, so it says, blessed are the servants who are watching. And I'm like, family, are we watching? Are we really paying attention to the policies, to the things that are being rolled out? Or are we under the YouTube trends? Are we under the social media trends? And don't get me wrong, we kind of all fall victim to it to some degree. Right? I'll be lying if I said, hey, I'm not on YouTube. Probably a little bit too much. But while I'm on YouTube, I am watching things that are lining up with the agenda. Right? So I'm watching the CNNs. I'm watching the Al Jazeera's. I'm watching things that are really showing us the writings on the wall, the narrative, no matter how we look at it. They're spelling out where this is going through all the news articles, all the policies, for those who have eyes to see. So as watchmen, followers of Christ, it's very important that we're watching the times, understanding that this is just a sign for what time it is for us, the next phase for what it is, what it will be for us, right? Because we understand that eventually they're going to pursue the believers of Christ, right? Whether they label it as non-vax or, you know what I mean? These agendas, or better yet, these labels, and we've seen it before, they will once again be thrown on those who make a choice to separate themselves from the system, right? Go on.
Verse 38, "And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come."
Right, so the good man of the house knew what time the thief is coming. Now, who's the thief? Satan, right? Satan only comes to steal, destroy, right? Go on.
"He would have watched."
Right, so if we knew what time Satan was coming. You see the hard part about this? Is that majority of the world believes Satan still is in hell, or he doesn't exist. Right? When the Bible tells us, and we read it today, we were out today doing street ministry, and the Bible tells us, "For woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, for Satan has come down," right? "Knowing he has a short time." Right? But it tells us, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, meaning that Satan would come down and wreak havoc on the earth and the inhabitants in the earth. But yet, nobody sees him. You know, Satan has come like the wizard in the Wizard of Oz. He's the man behind the curtain pulling the strings. Right? Go on.
Verse 39 from the top. "And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched, and not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man..."
Right? So the same way, we got to be ready also. Because the adversary, he's coming to break in, to destroy. It's just a matter of when. And this is why we have to be in tune. This is why we have to keep watch, because we understand that he's real close with what we're seeing. Don't get me wrong, we still have time, right? But you know, the way how this thing's playing out, it's like they do a little bit in the Middle East, then they come and they do a little bit here. You know, and the Bible says that this judgment would be like birth pains, right? It would be like birth pains. Now, for the sisters understand what I'm saying when I mean birth pain, meaning it's going to be one contraction after another contraction until the final contraction, when all the pain is brought forth in that delivery. So right now, what are we going through? We're going through the contractions, right? Lockdowns, that's a contraction. The whole pandemic, contractions. Them hitting Iran in the Middle East, contraction, another contraction, right? But we understand that eventually it's going to come. The judgment's going to come, right? It's going to manifest itself. And it's, as I said, we're seeing it manifest itself. Go on.
The rest of verse 40. For the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
Right? So blessed are the servants that when Christ comes, he finds them. What are they doing? Serving him. Well, I mean, serving him, but what are they doing? They're watching. They're waiting for his coming. Because let me show you what this next servant did. Continue to read.
Of a truth, I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he had.
Right? So this is the servant that's watching, constantly is in tune, constantly warning the people that the flood, the deluge, the judgment is around the corner. He will be rewarded, right? But let's get the next one. Go on.
But, and if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming.
Right? But if we say, we have more time, we can get comfortable. He delays his coming. And we go back out and get a last piece of the Babylonian pie. Right? Go on.
And shall begin to beat the men servant and maidens.
Right? So now he's lacking mercy, because we understand in order to receive mercy from the Most High, we have to do what? We have to give mercy. So now he's, Christ, we have more time. So now he's not worried about mercy. Go on.
And to eat and drink and to be drunken.
Right? He's saying, boy, you know what? I've been waiting for Christ for how much years? And I missed out on all the parties, all the good time. Oh, now let me squeeze in one more. Because this can happen to us. And it has happened to some of us. Right? We're on the journey. We lose that zeal. We get comfortable. We get relaxed. And then later down the line, we start falling off of watching, off of being in tune with the Most High, in tune with the times that we are in. It's very easy to happen. You guys remember I said, we did a lesson and we said, I think it was from Passover to like first fruits, there's always a falling away. You guys remember we did a lesson of that nature? We're saying from the time of Passover to the time of thing, because we had East, you have all these different pagan stuff going on. Spirits are being chanted out. Believers usually start to kind of die off. Did we not see it? Yes. Did we not see it? We seen it. So at the same time, I'm just looking at just the seasons alone has done that, right? But as Babylon, because believe it or not, they're gonna sell a good game. That's gonna entice many. Bible talks about, that hour of temptation. And a lot of people are gonna stop watching and get complacent And some already have. And, eventually, through that, be destroyed, right? Continue to read. And I want to show you what I mean by be destroyed. Go on.
12:46. The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh
Right?
not for him.
So a day when, because he ain't even looking for him no more. So he's going to come in a day where he least expects it. Go on.
At an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him asunder.
Right? And we'll cut him asunder. Go on.
And will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
Right? So when it says cut him asunder, could this possibly mean death? Yes. Before the return of Christ? I believe so. Right? And the reality is none of us know our time, nor the day, nor the hour that he may require our souls. So with that mindset, we should always be in a state of watch. Right? Continue though. You got more there?
Sit on that.
Right? So have you been living your life in rebellion to the basics that the scripture hold as important? Have you been diligent in prayer with faith towards the Father instead of worthless things this world has to offer? Don't take for granted the time the Father has given out of grace, or given out of grace for weakness, right? So we can't take this time that the Most High has given us. We can't take this time where we're seeing everything right in front of us, the writing's on the wall, and take it for granted. And I'm going to tell you sometimes what we've done. And I've done it myself. I'm going to tell you I've done it myself. Where we're praying for more time. Any of us catch ourselves doing that?
Praying for more time?
Praying for more time. Well, it can be to get things right. It can be because we feel like, you know what? I need another 5 more years so I can prepare for the storm that's about to hit. I want to show you where it caught a few of us brothers, right? So, elections. A few of us brothers were getting ambitious, thinking that we can stop time. We can stop prophecy. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. I'm going to tell you what I mean where I'm going with this, right? So, some were saying, well, we hope the other guy wins. The other politician, what was his name again? Pierre? Pollier. Yeah. We're saying, well, hopefully he wins. Because we can buy back some houses, taxes going to go down on the houses, maybe money for the 4 years, money pick up back again. And some of us were saying, well, we have our license, we can we can freely do our stuff with our license and stuff like that. They're not going to restrain us. So all of us were optimistic, thinking he's going to win. No one's going to vote for liberals again. Exactly. Only to get a rude awakening to see, hold on, liberals won again. And while that was happening, I'm telling you, because I was even optimistic myself. And then the Holy Spirit, I'm going to say the Spirit hit me and said, what you guys were thinking was selfish. It's selfish. When we ask for more time, and instead, sometimes we're asking for more time because we ourselves are not right. It's selfish, though. Because how much of us are suffering around the 4 corners of the earth? Right? And it's really you're asking, depending on where you are, you're asking more time. Because those that died in righteousness, that are in Abraham's bosom, they're like, no, they don't need no more time. Time up. We want revenge. You see what I'm saying? Those that are being persecuted and running based off of their faith in parts of the world. Because, in certain parts of the country, they're killing Christians as we speak. You see what they're saying? Father, more time? No. Christ, come save us now. Yes. So, when we ask for more time, and I said, and a lot of times it's because we ourselves, we feel we're not ready, we're not right. But that mindset is a selfish mindset. And we got to change that mindset and say, you know what, Father? Whether I'm ready or not, come and save your people. Come and save creation. Because as I said, where they're about to go with this mark of the beast, with this new digital age, with AI, it's every horror movie that we can think of. It's Terminator. It's Matrix. It's War of the Worlds. All those movies that we can think of, that we can see of a dystopia future, they're showing you what to expect. All of us seeing what's happening in Gaza right now and the technology that they're using in Gaza right now, believe it's coming to a city near you. In a lot of cases, they're already rolling out the facial recognition, the tracking systems. It's already rolled out. It's just a matter of time before the next crisis, before we sign over our rights to give it to them, because you know how it works. Chaos, then order. So they'll create the chaos and bring the order out of the chaos, but the order will be martial law, dictatorship, more police state. And this is where, as I said, they've set up the grid. They used the last few years to set up the grid. All the smart homes. What do you guys, the smart homes, when you really check it out, they're not really that, the houses are smart. Let me not pick on the people. Let me start, because you guys might throw some stuff up here, because a lot of people in the crowd probably have some smart houses. But the smart house is so smart that from a click of a button, they can lock you out of your house. Right? It's so smart that at the click of the button, I'll say, yo, you don't belong here. Right? But they sold it to us out of the disguise of what? Convenience. You can just tell Siri, Alexa, turn off the heat. Right? That's how they sold it to us. And what we really did is we bought into our own prison, our own demise. I'm looking at all the phone. You know, there's a reason. I was a big phone guy, right? Yep. All the phone. How many people have facial recognition on their phone and fingerprint on their phone? Because you want to keep people out of your phone. Yeah, man, you did them a favor. They have your facial scans. They have your fingerprints. We gave it all to them. Right? And all we're thinking is, let me keep people out of my phone. Well, this is a reason why, me personally, I'm to this day,
Password.
Give me 4 numbers. I'll put in the 4 numbers. But they're showing you that all these things, they were setting up to eventually use against you. Right? It's crazy, huh? But let's continue. Where are we at? Luke?
Luke.
Let's get Luke.
Still in the book of Luke, chapter 12, just jumping down to verse 51. It says, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. I tell you nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Right? So, and really and truly, we saw this. And we're going to see this again. Because, you know, one of the things that will be that dividing factor is the truth. And we can live in a house and we'll say, well, one person's following the truth and the other person is looking at the truth and either, I'm going to say, is looking at the truth and, or better yet, I'll use this example. I think this is a better example. During the last 4 years with the whole COVID and lockdowns. One family, some saying, hey, I'm not going with this agenda. The rest of the family is like, what do you mean you're not going with this agenda? In some cases, get out of my house. In some cases, you're a threat to the rest of the family. So, you know, one of the things we understand, and believe it or not, there's some people that maybe not in the truth as we know it, but understood the truth regarding that choice. They saw it for what it really was. And that truth caused a division amongst family, amongst friends. Where if you didn't get it, you're part of that group. You're part of the unvax. And if you get it, and society helped to feed into that narrative. Well, you can't go into this place, you can't go into this place. And they were playing on that division. So we understand that this truth that Christ has given us is going to cause a division. And not because we as believers of Christ want to be divided from our family. The reality is that it's our family that will divide themselves from us. So it is this truth and what must be done as a result of knowing it. Because remember, the truth comes with a choice. It comes with decision. The Bible tells us faith without works is really nothing. It's dead. It's nothing. So this faith, this belief leads us to operate in a certain manner, to make certain choices. And that choice is eventually we will be pilgrims in this earth. We will have to leave this construct. The cities will not be places for the people of God. How much of the family wants to come? That alone will be a choice where some will not follow you. Some will say, well, we'll stay here where we feel and what we know, the evil that we know. Let me continue to read. It says, people have chosen many diverse options in their beliefs in order to continue in the rebellious behavior they have grown accustomed to. Our families are no different. Christ will one day cause great divisions, which are already evident even today, simply by requiring people to choose a side, right? And I'm going to say we haven't even reached the peak of this. Right? We haven't reached the part where government is coming down and saying, hey, we had taste of it during, I think, that whole trial period. Mm-hmm. But we're not at the point where military is being issued, where people are being arrested. We know that that is coming. Right? But I'm saying people are already willing to lack faith in the Most High for lesser reasons. Not even facing what we know is coming, the challenges that we know are coming. Right? And they're already folding. So what will happen when mark of the beast is here, or when that ultimate choice to trust God or trust government, when they're faced with that? Right? Will all make the choice to trust God? I think some are going to make the latter choice, right? To follow the government. Well, let's continue. Let's get Joshua.
Book of Joshua, chapter 24. We will be reading verses 13 to 16 if you would like to write it down. Verse 13 reads, and I have given you a land for which ye did not labor, and cities which ye built not, and ye dwell in them. Of the vineyards and of olive yards which ye planted not, do ye eat.
Right? So let's pause there, right? Let's pause here for a second. So we know Joshua, this is Joshua, them going into the promised land, leaving out of Egypt. We once again, we're doing the same. We're about to leave out of this spiritual bondage, this spiritual Egypt. And the Most High is saying, even though he's asking us to forsake the cities and to go out into the wilderness and to trust him, eventually he will lead us into a promised land. Right? And we read about it throughout the Bible, that land flowing with milk and honey. Read it again. He's leading us to where? And he has given us what?
And I've given you a land which ye did not labor.
Right? This is where he's leading us. So it's not like the Most High is leading us to uncertainty. It's not like we don't know where we're headed. We know where we're going. Might not know the course, but we know the destination. Right? Go on.
And cities which ye built not, and ye dwell in them. Of the vineyards and olive yards which ye planted not, do you eat.
Go on.
It says, now therefore fear the Most High, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your father served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve the Most High. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Most High, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were of the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Most High.
Right? And I think this is very fitting. So before they went into the promised land, they all had to make a choice. Which God will you serve? And I think before we go back into the promised land, we will have a choice that we will have to make. Which God will we serve? Will we serve the God of all gods that has promised us everlasting life? Or will we serve the God of this world that really and truly all he has to offer, the only thing he has to offer is the things of this world, the kingdoms of this world, and we see that this world is falling apart. The kingdoms of all kingdoms, which is America, which is Babylon the Great, even over there is falling. It's no longer the beauty of the Chaldeans, I'm going to say the beauty of the world. So really and truly, everything that this world has to offer, it really holds no weight, right? And you think, I think about Moses. Moses was faced with the same choice. He could have all the riches of Egypt, but he forsook that, understanding that the promises and the reward that comes through Christ, that comes through the Most High, his Father, outweigh the riches of this world, right? And then what does Satan really give us? It looks good. It's shiny. But when you see past the lights, the smoke and mirrors and the flashiness, it's just death behind it. Nothing. It's kind of like the food he wants to give us. The GMO food. It look good?
Yes, big and nice.
Big, nice, shiny. But there's no substance to it. There's nothing nutritious, nothing beneficial for the body for it. And that's what the adversary has for us. Right? It may look good, but it's really no substance, nothing that we desire. And we see it because guess what? Those of the world who took the offer from Satan, Satan said, worship me and I'll give you the world. Those that have taken the offer, they become rich, they become famous. And in some cases, they're sadder than us. And we're looking at them and say, boy, give me the money. I'll find some happiness with that money. But they say it over and over again. Money can't buy happiness. Right? Money will never fill that spiritual void that we were all programmed to have, especially us people of color. Because Most High has put something in us where we have to worship something. And we know what we should worship. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But we are people that, and I go from church to church and think about it. We fill up all the churches. Showing you how it's in our DNA to worship the Most High. Right? Well, let's continue.
And the people answered and said, God forbid that we should forsake the Most High God to serve other gods. Let's sit on that.
Right? So there are many religions which people follow under many ancient gods, and they all will still lead to the mark of the beast, due to the fact that all these gods are under Satan's rule. Right? So, you really, other than people from a Christian background, you really don't hear anyone fighting about the technology being rolled out. Right? I don't hear the Quran saying, Allah says, don't receive a mark. I don't see that. I don't see the Jewish powers coming out and saying that as well. I don't see the Hindus. I really don't see anybody. So really and truly, the only people that are fighting against this is people of the Bible. Right? So, and that shows us that really and truly the world is all on one accord with this new agenda. Right? And then you think about this, right? The technology behind this was created where? It was created predominantly, I'm going to say, by the Western powers. Yes. But the first place that it was tested was in India. They rolled it out in India. So does it show you that they're all on one accord? When they rolled out the pandemic, all the governments had the similar plan. They were all on one accord with it.
Complicit, yeah.
Right? They're all complicit with the plan being rolled out by the financial institution. What is it called? The financial... All right, we'll get back to that. We'll get back. IMF, right? IMF, right? But they pretty much make the plans and roll it out and get the governments to the fourth industrial revolution. All of those plans came from Schwab and the Economic Forum, something of that nature, right? Let's continue though. Sirach?
Book of Sirach, chapter 32, verses 14 to 17. And verse 14 reads, Whoso feareth the Most High will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor. He that seeketh the law shall be filled therewith, but the hypocrite will be offended thereat. They that fear the Most High shall find judgment, and shall kindle justice as a light. A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will.
Right, so it says, sin is abounding, and almost everyone is caught up in the same type of perversions. The scriptures tell us plainly, if you are sinful, you will find a way to make an excuse to continue to sin. So, how does this look? See, one of the things that we can't be doing is convincing ourselves. You guys remember I told you about convincing ourselves we got more time? Convincing ourselves that we have, and then as I said, when I'm looking for more time, I'm looking for more time. And to some cases it's fear. In some cases it can be vanity because I'm saying, boy, let me get the house before you judge the whole thing. Before Babylon fall, let me just get the house. And sometimes we kind of justify those things, or we downplay the reality and the reality of the matter. We downplay it, you know what I mean? It's because we don't want to deal with the reality. We don't want to deal with, how much of us really want to be running up and down? But do we want the reward? Do we want to go home? Right? But a lot of us, we don't want to deal with, I'm not going to lie, I'm like, guys, I got to start jogging. I'm like, honey, I got to go here. I got to start training. I got to do all these things. I spent the whole week last week just focusing on communication technology. And I'm like, do I really want to have to use this one day? No. But the reality is, do I want to live? Do I want to survive?
Yes.
Did Christ tell us to prepare?
Yes.
Then I got to do these things.
Yes.
Right? You want to say something, Sister Nare?
Yeah, I just want to say, it's a tough topic, right?
Yeah.
Because, we saw quite a number of folks that we fellowship with leave Canada, I guess 2021.
Yeah.
And, some have returned and are in worse situation now because they thought that it was permanent.
Yeah.
Where they're going, and when they're in a pretty bad situation now because you see the economy and they've returned. And it may not be permanent, but for now it is, So I just think about that desperation, like even in Jeremiah 31 or 30, where the children of Israel were asking Jeremiah to tell them what they should do under Nebuchadnezzar.
Yes.
And he's like, well, no, you just have to stay and plant your vineyards. And there's that, do I see Abraham and Ariel? I get what you're saying, like if you pray, I'd love to see them grow up or that. I always say, Father, don't take me until I see them self-sustained.
Yeah.
But that's not my choice. And I do have in the back of my mind of people suffering in the war. I've always had it as a child.
Yeah.
Watching when they're showing refugee issues in war. That when you pray, I felt that pinch, but this is just one part of the world. Other people are suffering. But that whole thing of that whole notion of we need to prepare to go, but then what if we're here another 30 years and something's planned?
And I
Some
understand.
are living like they're not even planning for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then those who are planning, maybe we're the buffer that can help them out. But there's a lot that kind of fleed off
Yeah, yeah.
Right? They're not really living wise. So
I-
it's so tricky. It's a tough topic.
It is, and I'm kind of touched on that because I understand what you're saying. So for me, I came into this truth over 10 years ago, and I thought the world was gonna done then. I tell you guys this story. I saw them going to Syria, and I was at the same time. There's things regarding the judgment that I didn't understand yet, but what I understood, I was like, it's gonna happen any moment now. What's the point of doing this? What's the point of doing that? What's the point? And I stopped bettering myself. And I got stagnant because I'm like, what's the point? The world's about to end. And then, you get in line and we're like, okay, we got more time. The world's not going to end. So then I said, let me finish my career. Let me finish this. Let me get this. Let me get that. And whatnot. And then now you're like, boy, maybe I can get these things. And maybe we have time. You can kind of go in that mindset, try to make up for lost time, so to speak. And we do have to be careful of that. But the reality is that we can live in this world, but not of this world. We can live in the world, but not be of this world. So at the end of the day, guess what? I got to do what I got to do. I still have to function, right? And not be led by fear. And what I was doing, it was being led by fear, right? Because I still should have been doing the things that I need to do and say, okay, most high, when it's time, it's time. But guess what? I believe the same way how the children of Israel knew coming out of Egypt, when it was time to go, we're going to know it's time to go. And I think it's going to get to the point where we just can't stay anymore. And I think all of us will see that as sign on the wall, right? So, all right. But thank you for bringing up that point, because that is a part of this journey, right? When to go and when not to go. Let's continue though.
I got the commentary here.
And I got a commentary, right? So sin is abounding, and almost everyone is caught up in some type of perversion. The scriptures tell us plainly, if you are sinful, you will find a way to make an excuse. And that's the key, that we're not making an excuse, understanding that, the mark of the beast is around the corner. The mark is no different, and many will take it simply because they are covetous and love to feel accepted by this wicked world. And that's another thing. We got to be careful. Some of us, we thrive to be accepted. Your friends don't accept you. You feel left out. We compromise. I remember this. And the younger generation, I get it. But I remember the younger generation, we had I'm going to say my sister. And she was feeling the pressure because all her friends were going to restaurants and she couldn't go to restaurants.
I hear you, man.
And we're just like, just hold on.
I hear you.
Just endure.
Yeah.
And eventually, she we found ways around it, and she was going and da-da-da-da, but she's looking at what she's seeing now.
I hear you.
And she's like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't make that decision. But it was a hard decision. Why? Because it affected her schooling. It affected so much of her normal life as she knows it. Right? So one of the things that we can't allow is feeling isolated from society to make the thing that makes us give in.
Yes.
Right? Feeling like, you know what, I can't go to my favorite restaurant, honey, we can't do movie night. They're required. Just come. Make us go get the pass now.
Yes.
We can't have that mindset. Right? Movie night, we make movie night at home.
Yes.
Dress up, make some popcorn, make it special, get some candles. Well, we make it special at home. We can bring our own drinks to this movie theater. Right?
And your food.
But we gotta get used of not being part of society. It's okay. Right? It's okay, they have every year they have this event happening. It's okay if we don't go.
Yes.
Right? Get used to that. I think sometimes I said, the one thing that I say, remember I told you I used to be like a loner at times?
Yeah.
I used to deal with Me and depression became best friends. I'm not saying go there,
Yes, but me understand.
but get comfortable
Being with yourself.
being in your own skin, being by yourself sometimes, right? And I'm saying that's one of the things that I used to love is that and it was circumstances. Sometimes in life, Most High allows circumstances to help prepare you for eventually some of the things that you're going to need. And one of the things that I had is that I had a time where all my friends, I had no friends. It was only me and T. Me, T, and video games. We put on the video games. But literally, all my friends got arrested. Right? Long gone, like you just said. And it forced me because I was so used to getting out my house, going to my friend's house, we chill at his house, chill. And it forced me to now get used to just staying home. Getting used to, my friends became people online, people I used to game with online. Spend 8 hours, 10 hours online, but it kept me out of trouble. But during that time, as I said, my wife became my best friend at that time because it was only me and her rolling. But it helped me to, as I said, get comfortable being by myself. And then when all my friends came out, they're like, we don't see you no more. And it's sad because I became so used to just being with me and my wife or just by myself, right? But it helped me because now I'm not, when you come to this party, come here. I'm good. I don't need to be all of that, right? But some of us, we need that withdrawal from people because it's like we're too needy, relying on fellowship, or not fellowship, I don't want to say fellowship, but we're relying on the social clubs and the social statuses and, the social medias and all these things. And I'm saying we gotta unplug from it all eventually. Mm-hmm. So start preparing yourself emotionally, mentally for that unplugged phase because it's coming. Let's get Book of Joshua though.
All right, so we're going to the book of Joshua, chapter 9, reading verses 20 to 21. And we're going to jump from there. And it says, verse 20, and King Nimrod reigned securely, and all the earth was under his control. And all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. And all the princes of Nimrod and his great men took counsel together, put Mizraim, Cush, and Canaan with their families. And they said to each other, come, let us build ourselves a city, and in it a strong tower, and its top reaching heaven. And we will make ourselves famed, so that we may reign upon the whole world, in order that the evil of our enemies may cease from us, that we may reign mightily over them, and that we may not become scattered over the earth on account of their wars. Jumping down to 25. And the building of the tower was unto them a transgression and a sin. And they began to build it. And whilst they were building against the Most High God of heaven, they imagined in their hearts to war against him to ascend into heaven. And all these people and all the families divided themselves in three parts. The first said, we will ascend into heaven and fight against him. The second said, we will ascend to heaven and place our own gods there and serve them.
Right, so this is all the nations on one accord, complicit in this plan to fight against the Most High. Right, so the plan, going back to the Tower of Babel, and a lot of us, we because we never read this story in the book of Joshua, and the Bible says, are not these things written in the book of Joshua? Because we never read it, we don't really understand the magnitude of what was happening at that tower. The Most High wasn't mad because they were just building a tower. No, they were building a tower in order to bring Satan, or their God, back into the heavens and to war against God in the heavens. This was the agenda. And what we have to understand is that there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same agenda being rolled out again. See, what they've done in the last 2 years, they built a construct. Tower of Babel, it's built. The technology is already here. They've already gotten Satan out into the heavens through NASA program. So the construct, bringing the world back on one accord, they've already done this through the internet, through technology. Right? When you look at some of the patents, some of the technology being rolled out, you'll see that this is a joint venture. China, the US, it was a joint venture. So once again, Satan has brought the world on one accord, or will bring the world on one accord through technology. And the one thing that will be linking all mankind to the beast system is that chip. Right? You guys ever see, some of you guys see, and you know there's so much movies, but I'll give you guys a few. You remember that movie, Cell Tower, where the frequency had everybody hypnotized, and eventually they're all marching on one accord, one spirit, being controlled through frequencies. There's another show, and this show, it's a series, and it's really good. It's called Westworld. And for those who watch Westworld, we know that by the final season, AI was running everything, and they were using frequencies to control the citizens. So, and we know that, for instance, we know that what was in some of the patents that they've written, right? That they're trying to put into people. Some of that will give them the ability, right? Especially for those who complete the process, will give them the ability to be controlled through 5G frequencies. Right? You want to say something?
So this might turn you into this controversial.
Yeah.
Because I know the question's been asked, what are we going to do, Deacon? And where are we going to go? And, it's classified information, not a forum to discuss. So,
We got time.
querying.
Yeah.
It's a very maybe elementary controversial thought with that whole frequency comment. Are camps possibly concerned about, where they might be retreating to when the people need to retreat, and those who might have drank in the Kool-Aid that frequencies can pick up might be amongst the camp? And
I mean, you definitely went far with that. Definitely went far with that. I'm gonna say this, and I think I said this in the past. Right? Because the reality is we're still not done gathering souls, right? The time of fishing, we're not done yet. Even when we're being persecuted, we're still fishing, because we talked about truth with persecution last week, and saying that even the apostles, they're running from Saul, aka Paul, but they're still evangelizing. Peter in Joppa, he's there hiding out from the persecution. So with that being said, there's people that's going to come amongst us that is going to need spiritual healing. And we're going to have to lay hands on them. And we're going to have to rid them and help rid them of what's been put into them. I solely believe that. I think about it, and sorry guys, I'm quoting every movie, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm a movie head. Maybe I am a little. But I think about the scene in Matrix, the first one, where they put the tracker in Neo. And the tracker looked like the same thing they were putting into people. And they were able to separate it out of Neo so that it wouldn't track him when they would unplug him. So when I look at that, that made me say, they know something here. They know the spiritual realm. Because think about it. Really and truly, all of these things are still matter. And the Most High, look what the Most High did out of nothing. So all of the things that they're using to make the technology, it still matter. Right? Christ showed us that the authority he gives us goes beyond the physical limitations of the matter. So water became walls so that we can walk through. Waters became solid so Peter could walk on. So when we look at that, the healing that comes through Christ, the power that comes through Christ, it outweighs the limitations of this world. So when I look at that, I'm saying I don't think there's something that they can make that Christ can't heal. So we have to understand that and have that faith for us to even obtain to the next level to be able to heal these people, right? Because faith without works, we know it's what?
Dead.
It's dead. So we have to have the faith to understand that He's going to give us what we need to heal who we need, and He's going to save. Nothing that's of Christ will be lost when it's all said and done, right? But let's continue.
All right. And the third part said, we will ascend to heaven and smite him with bows and spears. And the Most High God knew all their works and all their evil thoughts. And he saw the city and the tower which they were building.
All right, so let me read the commentary, right? Sorry. So just like before, the world is united through a common bond to rebel against the Father under lesser gods. The internet itself has been a vehicle in which beliefs have reached even those who had no knowledge of certain religions. Technology has brought forth a means of unification, just like the Tower of Babel. Those that hate the Most High and love to sin are primed and ready for the mark of the beast. And you know, one of the things that I think I was listening to this week, and somebody said it, and I thought it was so key. I said, you know what? Through technology, the television, Satan has been able to initiate more people than back in the days when it was just the Ouija board. Right? Because through a lot of things they've shown on TV that we participated, it's linked to occult practices. Yes. Right? So now, rather than waiting for the youth to go to college, join a fraternity, which all these fraternities are really linked to Greek gods. It really is linked to it has a demonic origin. So rather than wait for that way of initiation, now we can initiate the masses through making them partake in certain rituals, ceremonies that they can watch from the comfort of their home. So as I said, through the TV, television, media, they have already conditioned our minds to accept this, right? The Western world is, especially Canada, I hate to say it, we have you think when government says, it's time, guys. Even the angry ones right now protest. That's as far as it's going to go. But eventually, everyone is pretty much ready to comply. They've already kind of domesticated us to some degree. America, they're more worried about because they say, nah, man, everyone has guns. Everyone's going to fight. So they're more worried about that. Canada's like, no, we're about to confiscate anything. The rest of the things you guys have anyways. And what you have, there's only so much you can do. You can never war with us. So a lot of people are going to give in before they even attempt to fight, right? And they know that. But let's continue.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14. You read in verses 12 to 14. He reads, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation and the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High God.
I will be like the Most High God. Now, Brother Alton, you have that paper I gave to you today?
Yes, my truck.
Okay, we won't go in the truck for it. We won't go in the truck for it. But let me read this. It says, their whole agenda in the end of it is to make Satan the supreme ruler over all things. You guys believe that? Right? Now, according to the Albert Pike plan, what does it say in the Albert Pike plan? That eventually they will bring the pure manifestation of Lucifer out into the public. So this has always been the goal, right? To lead mankind, because remember, Satan said, I will be like the Most High. Satan had made his plan from the beginning to be worshipped, to steal the worship that belongs to the Most High and claim it to himself. And in a lot of cases, he's been successful. Brother Benai, you want to say something?
I was watching a program about the cell phone, and they were saying that the devil's not omnipresent, but he becomes omnipresent through the phone. A lot of people are hooked on the phone.
Yes.
And the phone is actually a tool he's using to trap the people.
See, the phone is part of the agenda, but eventually, and it's funny because I have the articles here, we won't go into it for time's sake. Global Vision 15-minute prison cities and the end of private property. Russia begins construction of prison-style 15-minute cities. So the cities will become the prisons. So your phone will be to track your whereabouts. I mean, eventually they're just going to put the chip in you. You notice some of the lights, they've put in what they call smart lights. What a lot of people don't know, and what they were doing in urban communities, they were putting them in the hoods, and they were surveillancing the people in the area. This is why they knew what crime was happening, who was coming to shoot the area, because they're already doing surveillance. My wife just came back from UK, and she's like, if you look at this, there's nothing you can do in UK. So they tested that there. In China right now, they have the same system, and that system is pretty much what they're deeming to replace the credit score system.
Social system.
It will be the social system, where government will control every aspect of your life. You guys know your TV, your smart TVs are already watching you, right? I told you guys about that, right? I was watching a documentary, and they're like, yeah, all the smart TVs, they record you, and they can videotape what you're watching, what's on the screen, and who's watching the screen. And if you hook up your computer or your DVD, I just say a third party, they see that too. So this surveillance is really, it's already has happened, and it's already has happened, but now they're taking it to all new heights where Minority Report, everything will be based on pre-crime.
Yep.
How much are you taking your vaccines? Are you following what the government is telling you? And if you're not, you're a terrorist and you're a threat to society, and we're coming to lock you up, detain you, and maybe even behead you. Because in some of these places, we know that they've been buying guillotines. And this is early 2000s, they were buying the guillotines. So we understand the times that we're in. We understand the battle ahead. Right? Go on.
You sit on that, you got this commentary here, and then we got Revelations.
This commentary right here, right?
Yeah.
This one here, right?
Yep.
So unless you have been living under a rock, or is this one here?
Yeah,
so the whole agenda, and I read this already.
Okay, so we got Revelations.
Let's get Revelations.
So you got the book of Revelations, chapter 13. We'll be reading verses 15 to 18. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right? Read that again.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak.
Now, does anybody know what this image is? So this beast had the power to give image. Or read it again. Make sure I'm not.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So what is the image of the beast? Anybody understand what the image of the beast is? We know that's the empire, the beast. But what's the image of the beast? That's the number of the mark. You're in tune though. You're in tune. If you know that, I know you're in. I know you're in tune already. Mm-hmm. Somebody said it over here. AI. AI is the image of the beast. So when it says it had the ability to give life onto it, we are seeing it. AI is being rolled out. We're seeing robots eventually becoming normalized as in part of society. We're seeing AI, and I talked about it, it's in your phone, so all the phones have been uploaded. iPhone, if you updated your iPhone recently, all your phones have been updated with AI on it. So this is the image of the beast. And it's crazy because if you understand this, you understand that, because you guys know AI is controlling military right now, right? You know that AI eventually will be controlling your policing. AI will be the very thing that will be governing society. So right now, what they have right now, and it's crazy because as believers, we should understand this. Right now, the technology that they're using in the Gaza Strip right now to identify terrorists and who's that, facial recognition, they're using a software that's made by a company called Palantir. Just do some research on Palantir. I bought some stocks because I knew what it was. It's bothering me though because it's killing a lot of people. Not good money. Not all money is good money. But nonetheless, that software collects all the data. It takes all the data and meshes it all together. And through that data, they know that, hey, based on what you listen, based on what you go, guess what? You're a problem. They know your daily routine, your driving habits, because all of that's, think about it. We're already collecting that data through our phones. So now that data is collected from our phones and brought into this software, and this software can pinpoint all the possible rebels. So who do you think they're looking for? They're going to be looking for the Christians. They're going to be looking for the believers. And as I said, they already have the data to know who's a believer of Christ and who's not a believer of Christ. Guess why? Because YouTube, what do you watch on YouTube? Right? So for me, a long time I said, guess what? They're already coming for me. I might as well go hard for the Most High because they're already coming for me. How much YouTube videos I have talking about this? So they will be coming, they know who you are. This is why YouTube, you notice now you can't even access YouTube without accessing your profile? Yeah. Because YouTube already marked you out. He's a believer. Those that have been current with your doctors, they know your medical reports, they know your statuses. They know that you're part of the unvaxxed group. So they'll know they know already who they will be coming for. Right? Continue.
Verse 16. And he called us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Right, so the number is 666, and we're going to get that because you'll find that number in the patent. So unless you have been living under a rock, it's painfully, should I say, obvious at this point that Satan's number is everywhere nowadays. The mark itself also comes with these numbers embedded in the technology, as it is already present in other technology which precede its mainstream mandate, right? Now let's play these videos. We're going to play two videos, 4-minute, 5-minute clips. Let's play the first one. No, let's play the Trump one. Let's play the Trump one, and then we'll play this one after. Now, some of us, we probably saw this on Coming Out of Babylon last night. But for those that missed it, I decided, I think all of us need to see this.
Is that they can steal from you and you won't even be able to see it through the normal inflation channels. So when the promise is there will be no inflation, heck no, they're going to be attacking your principal.
Yeah, stablecoin issuers are the 18th largest buyer of U.S. debt in the world. They have over $120 billion worth of the stuff. Lynette, they're doing exactly what a Federal Reserve CBDC would have done. They are globally adopted. They are instant, borderless, and dollar pegged. Markets can use them, exchanges and payment apps integrate with them. And most of all, people trust them, Lynette. There's no public backlash. Ian Rachis, the co-founder of SmartDex, put it, why bother creating a CBDC?
Yeah, because you've got it already. Yeah, I could not agree with you more. Bitcoin was a Trojan horse to get adoption.
Right.
They allow it to run. This is how they do it. They make it look so that it's something, it's as good as gold. It's digital gold. It's not. And it's all, these stable coins are all based on dollars to create that market that's been going away.
They have freezability, confiscation, and sanction mechanisms built in. They can already regulate, trace, and even program under existing laws.
Exactly. And they
Pause that for a second. So and we talked about this last week. We talked about this Genesis bill Trump has signed. That's pretty much making stablecoin crypto the new normal. This is going to change everything as we know it, right? Now, through everything being on the blockchain, some of us may not know what it is, but through everything being on this one system, which will be globally adopted, they can freeze your assets. They can sanction, so they can kind of control what you can buy, what you can't buy. Now, one of the things they want to control is what we eat. So for some of us who love the beef and love our meat, no, we need you to cut down because guess what? The cows them are creating too much carbon. Right? In some cases, guess what? Because all cars, and this is why they want all cars to be electric. Because in some cases, guess what? We need you to drive less. Because it's creating too much carbon. So with a click of a button, they could shut down your car. With a click of a button, guess what? You don't, meet the status quo, or you're not up to date with what government requires. Guess what? All your smart technology, we talked about the homes. I can shut you out of your home. You default on a car payment, guess what? I can lock you out of your car, right? I'll give you some time. Say after we lock you out of your car, you don't pay the bill, guess what? I'll just make your car drive right back to where you bought it from. Believe it or not, this is where this is going, right? Continue to play.
have a layer of smart contract on there. What they want you to do is hold it on your telephone, right? Now, all of a sudden, you've got it here along with all of your tokenized assets. You've got all your equity right here. How easy is that to spend and flow into what the World Economic Forum predicted that by 2030, you will own nothing. I don't think you'll be happy.
Well, assuming the Genius Act passes, what impact do you think that'll have on gold and silver?
Well, I don't think people realize, but when he signs that law, probably today, I'm sure he's going to sign it, he totally supports it, then the monetary system has changed. People aren't going to realize that. They think it's the way they always do it. They've gotten enough adoption that they do it quietly, they do it invisibly, they make things look the same, And then how do you catch a wild hog? You give them free food and you put it out there. They get used to getting that free food. So they'll run, right? Let those cryptocurrencies run. Let's get as many eyes.
And we can pause it there. But I'll put the full video in the chat. But it hits home. Because, for instance, some of us, the way how they're selling this, and for many of us who can't see this, I mean, we have spiritual understanding, and we're seeing this, and we're like, boy, we know this crypto thing is gonna run. So let's cash in quick, and let's make some money quick. But on the other end, we understand that this is leading to the mark of the beast. So this is people who understand where this is going. Imagine the rest of the world that have no clue, don't understand what the Bible talks about when it talks about the mark of the beast. And then you have some that are reading the Bible, but only see the mark of the beast, but don't understand how we get to the mark of the beast. Because what we're reading in the Bible, we're reading the final, we're reading the technology at its final stage. But the Bible doesn't really give us the outline on the stepping stones of what lead to that. That is up to us to have the wisdom through the Holy Spirit to see the rollout right in front of us. And I say that why? Because, for instance, when we saw COVID happen, and they were saying, well, you can't buy, you can't sell, you can't travel. Guess what some people were saying? Oh, it's not the mark of the beast. But we were looking at it and saying, no, this is the beginning. This is the test to see how the world reacts to this. And the world, they bought the bullet. They know that, hey, we can do this again, and everybody will comply again. Lockdowns became a normal part of life. And they said, they told us this. They said, guess what? This is the new normal. Right? Remember that? This is the new normal. Let's play the next clip. Let's hopefully see if we can get it work. And if not, let's just play it straight off of the YouTube or off the website.
4 years ago, while billions of people were getting an experimental gene therapy drug, the United Nations announced their goal to get the entire world on digital IDs by the year 2030, which is a stated part of their Sustainable Development 2030 agenda.
The United Nations is ready to digitally transform how it deals with identity, with a system to streamline information sharing, daily workflows, access to platforms and buildings, operating across agencies, by providing its personnel with a universal, system-wide identity solution. Introducing the UN Digital ID, a unique and digital identity for UN personnel from the day you join to the day you part. All of your personal, HR, medical, travel, security, payroll and pension data in the palm of your hand, giving you full control on what you share and with whom. With blockchain and biometrics, the UN Digital ID makes verification efficient, secure, transparent, immutable, portable and universal. It's been piloted by different agencies and the UN Pension Fund, where they've replaced current manual processes with certainty for who and where pension recipients say they are at any given time. As innovation transforms the world, we can improve the way we manage our identities online. UN Digital IDs, a building block for digital cooperation, unlocking the promise of the SDGs.
About 5 years before that, presidential candidate Donald Trump stated that this was also his goal.
We will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
The main purpose of opening the borders was to create chaos so that order in the form of a digital ID system would be tolerated. In order for a biometric border system to work, everyone will obviously need to be in the system. And the Trump administration is using tariffs to compel foreign nations to comply. After threatening to impose harsher tariffs on Colombia, The Statement of Intent for Biometric Cooperation was drafted between the U.S. and Colombia. After returning from this trip, U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said that she met with Mexican President Sheinbaum about sharing biometric data in exchange for ending tariffs.
Do you think the Mexican president, you talked to her, is doing enough to defeat the cartels down there?
You know, we talked extensively about that. I gave her some options of more she could do. And I asked her specifically to share biometric information with us. And she's willing to discuss that, even though that in her country would be a little bit controversial. But she's putting a good faith effort. But President Trump is clear. He doesn't want people to keep talking. He wants to see action. And she has an opportunity to do some things that I will give a report to the president on and see if we can deal with the tariff situation that may be facing her people.
As a result of this, several laws went into effect last week in Mexico that will require the CURP, Mexico's 18-character version of the U.S. Social Security number, to include a QR code containing biometric data of both fingerprints and retinal scans. These new digital IDs will be monitored by the new Unified Identity Platform Agency, and biometric data will be shared with both Mexican and U.S. government agencies. The new biometric CURP will be legally required to purchase internet and mobile service, and changes to Mexico's telecommunications law will force internet service providers to share users' real-time geolocation data with Mexican authorities, allowing them the ability to shut down service and block digital platforms for failing to comply with regulatory provisions. Greg Reese reporting.
Right? So we know those regulatory revisions pretty much is vaccines, part of it, right? But why do I show this? You want to say something, Neil? Right? So, yeah. So Jamaica, I remember I was watching it, and me and Reverend, we were talking about that last week, right? And we know that, you know, Jamaica, they've already have plans and in the process of rolling this out. And I said, in those places, it's hard because the hand-to-hand transaction is a big thing, especially for those that go market and make their money in a market. And, you know what I mean, just the daily living in Jamaica, that's going to be hard. And I think they're going to have a hard time, they're going to have a hard time rolling that out. But we know that this is going to hit everywhere and everything. And Trump says, track water in the air. No matter where you go, they will be able to find you when it's all said and done. But then it brings us to the real elephant in the room. And the real elephant in the room is that while they're telling us about tariff, this and metal and this, it has nothing to do with that. This is all about getting everybody's biometrics. And if you understand that they said the new gold of the 21st century is what? Let me see who knows. What's the new gold? What's the new gold? Let me see him watchman them. What's the new gold? Wait. I don't even know what that is, huh? Demonism?
It's a transhumanism.
Transhumanism, that is part of the agenda. Absolutely. That is definitely part of mixing man and machine, right? AI and all of that. It's all, implant chips, brain chips, all of this is part of this whole agenda to track, monitor people, have them sync and link to the beast system. But I was more hinting at, and I even forgot the question now. Let me remind myself. What was the question again, guys? Say again?
What's the goal, you said?
What is the goal? It's going to come back to me.
Who's watching and waiting? Who's watching to see,
All right. It'll come back to me.
When I get
Let's proceed. It'll come back to me.
All right, so we're going to touch on this, the Greek word for the mark, which is Charagma G5480. Charagma, it's from the same as G5482, a scratch or etching that is stamped as a badge of servitude or sculptured figure, statue, graved mark.
Right, so what they want to do with this mark is they want to give everybody a badge of servitude. Right? This will be the thing that will pledge your allegiance to the God you're serving, which is the God of this world, which is Satan. Right? And so this is what they're designed, that eventually everybody, and you can find this, you know what, there's another video you can find, and it's on GOCC favorites, and it's from the Rockefellers. This is an old video. And Rockefeller says, no, we desire, I mean, these guys have all the money that they have. They control everything in the world. And he says, you know, the guy's asking him, you have all this money in the world, like what's with all this agenda? And he's like, no, the main number one goal is to have everybody microchipped but before it's all said and done. Right? Say that again? No, they themselves won't be microchipped. Right? They need the cattle to be microchipped. Now, I remember what I was about to say. Remember I tell you, come back to me? So the gold of the 21st century is data. Data collecting. That is the top thing that all companies right now, Google, all the major, they call them the Mag 7, the Magnificent 7 companies of the world, their prime enterprise is data collecting. So data right now has become the new gold. If you have a database of data and you find a gold, believe me, the data has more value. Because think about it too, especially in a time when they're talking about the new carbon, we want less carbon. They don't want no gold. So the gold that they're seeking right now, the most important asset right now that they're all fighting for is data. Now you have to understand, data is power. If I have all your data, guess what? Who can control who?
You control me.
Exactly. So this is why Trump right now is saying, guess what? You guys want to make money again? We need all the data you've been collecting on your citizens. Because that is what's going to make America great again. America will be the main policing hub when it's all said and done. And we already know Canada has no fight in this. Think about it. We already see where our government is ready to do whatever Trump tells us to do. So what they're planning over there, believe it or not, it's making its way here, if it's not already here. And what you'll find is that a lot of times the technology was made in Montreal. The research was done in Montreal before they brought it to the States. The MK Ultra program was done here in Montreal. I don't know if you guys know that. Because Canada is very sneaky and hidey, and they do a great job of trying to play innocent. We don't kill people. And Canada has a lot of blood on his hands. Right? But let me digress. Let's get that again.
You got the Charagma G5480.
All right.
From
go on. Sorry, go on.
You want the article?
Yeah, let's get the article.
All right. So we do have a news article here. It's from naturalnews.com. It's enzymes that will make Bill Gates' vaccine microchip implant work, known as luciferase. This is part of the plan for vaccination against the Wuhan coronavirus, COVID-19, is to inject people with syringes that contain implantable quantum dot tattoos, which we reported are a type of microchip that would seem to constitute the mark of the beast. And further proof of this comes in the form of enzyme that Bill Gates has chosen to make it all possible, which has been ominously dubbed luciferase. According to reports, luciferase will activate these quantum dot microneedles, as they are also called, effectively delivering the so-called vaccines into people's bodies. This near-infrared bioluminescence enzyme, luciferase, is what will make the Gates vaccines readable through special mobile devices, apps that will scan the injection site and identify the digital certificates or proof of vaccination that Gates and others have been publicly announcing in recent days.
Right, so we saw this when this first came out, when this article first came out, but it's really through the use of UV lighting, special lighting, cell phones, they can identify who has what in them, right? So some of the patents, some of the things, as I said, they're rolling out is detectable, as I said, through phones, through Bluetooth, through infrared. So, you know, and the article is going to tell you why this is important. Go on.
With the help of luciferase, a person's proof of vaccination will be readable in perpetuity long after he or she was injected with a vaccine for the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19. If a digital certificate is present, in other words, that person will be allowed to enter a store to buy food or to fly on an airplane.
Right, so pretty much all they have to do, as I said, because you can detect it through lighting, through cameras and whatnot, all you got to do is just walk through a camera or walk under a light. And they will identify through that, through how the skin reflects. Because this thing, when you look at it through a light, it shows through the skin. And they automatically will detect who and who has what. Right? Go on.
If it is not present, then that person will presumably be turned away and hold to get vaccine if he or she...
Hold on, and what? And told.
And told to get, Slovakia, and told to get vaccinated if he or she wants to participate in society.
Right? By your local authorities. Right? That's the part they're leaving out. By your local authorities, you will be summoned, detained, and take it or don't take it. Which one do you want? Right? Go on.
It just says implantable microchip, a digital ID microchip bears the patent 060606.
Right? So this is where you get your 666 from, the mark of the man, right? But it's within the ID of this microchip. Now, in parts of Europe, they were already issuing out this microchip. In Sweden, they were microchipping people, talking about this would be their COVID passports. You had companies that were literally putting chips in there so they can get a chocolate bar and access certain rooms in the company, right? So they're already dabbling with this technology. And then on this side of the world, we got Elon Musk putting chips in people's brains, right? So we're seeing it. It's here. Let's get Sirach chapter 33, verse 10.
The book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse number 10. And all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth, and much knowledge the Most High had divided them, and made their ways diverse. Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them he sanctified and set near himself. But some of them hath he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. As the clay is in the potter's hand, to fashion it as his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as he liketh him best.
Right, so there can be no compromise with the sinner. And I am reading the right spot, right?
Yeah.
The sinner and the godly are polar opposite. Where do you fall, and do you compromise your beliefs to please the sinner? Right? Do we do that? Do sometimes we lower our standards to please those that are still attached to this world?
Yes.
I think so too. I think sometimes our convictions, our way of, the things that are convictions, right? Our beliefs, we minimize it. In the eyes of, I'm going to say, for instance, when the letter people come around, we minimize it. When, at certain, we're in certain functions, certain things, we minimize it. But we realize that the people who rule this world, like those that are operating with spirit, they don't minimize their stand or their belief system. In a lot of cases, they'll force it on you, right? They'll force their lifestyle on you. They'll force their way of living, and they force you to accept it. And we're not doing that. But the one thing we can't do is that we can't compromise. Because, and I think about this, like, you know, there's times where you should say something or you could say something and you don't say nothing. I always think about it when Christ says, you know what, if you deny me, he's going to deny you in front of the Father. So I always think about it. I say, you know what, if conversation of God come up in the Most High, I will never diminish that spirit or that fire or what the Most High has put on my spirit to say at that present time. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be mindful. But remember, this truth has made us bold, not timid. So we cannot be timid in these last days to speak truth, especially for those that are really operating in ignorance. And that's what we're going to title it, in ignorance, right? Operating unknowingly. And we know lack of knowledge is why we are destroyed as people. Go on.
And there we got Book of Revelations, chapter 12, reading verses 10 to 12. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death.
Right, so this is speaking about in the heavens. Right? Those that died, you know, we talk about the 24 elders. Because this is the heavens rejoicing. We know that after Lucifer was kicked out of the heavens, he came down here, and it says, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth. But the key point that we're highlighting is that they overcame him by what? By the blood of the Lamb and their testimony. And that's the same thing that we're going to need in order to overcome the serpent, as the serpent is down here now wreaking havoc on the inhabitants of the earth. The blood of the Lamb and the testimony of Christ, the testimony, the fruits that we leave behind, the testimony that we leave behind. His testimony, which is really his testimony, right? Go on.
Verse 12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
Right? And we're living in the short time. We're seeing the short time. Satan knows he has a short time. We're seeing the days, and I was talking about this earlier on while we were street preaching. I'm saying we are seeing the days just fly. And I don't think, I used to hear older people say, oh, no, you're getting old now, that's why. I don't think we can use that excuse anymore. Let me ask some of the older people. Do you still say, well, we're getting old, the time just flying? Or, no, time's flying right now. I think we're all at that point where we're like, no, time's just speeding up right now. But that serves as a sign that we're heading into that time. Right? And Christ says, no day shall be like that. And if he didn't shorten the time, guess what? None of us would survive. So the fact that we're seeing the days getting shorter helps us to understand that we are approaching the storm very soon. Right? Go on.
Sit on that.
All right, so let me read this. And it says, the devil is bringing forth more and more in which to destroy man. He is especially targeting the Most High's people and those that decide to side with them. We must not be fearful, but remember that it is the Most High who allows and disallows at the end of the day. And I said that's the really and truly, that's the power that we have, is understanding that the really and truly, the only fear that we should have is fear that we don't meet the requirements of Christ. Fear that we won't be counted worthy. That's the only fear that we should have. Because we understand if we're good with Christ, if we're good with the Most High, whether we're dead or alive, we have a spot in the kingdom. So really and truly, that's the only thing that we should be fearing and trembling off of. Where do we stand with the Most High? Where do we stand with Christ? Right? Go on.
In the book of Revelations, chapter 14 now. Reading verses 8 to 12. Verse 8 reads, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High God, which is poured out without mixture, and to the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name.
Everlasting torment, right? Now, some of us, we can't even imagine that, and it's sad because most believers, not most believers, I'm going to say I've met believers that don't understand that the judgment that the judgment of the Most High is an eternal judgment, right? I've heard believers say, you know what, how could God be so cruel? Not understanding that the spirit that he put in us is eternal. So eventually, the spirit that he put on us will have a final resting place. And the choice is up to us. We're either in the kingdom or we're in the lake with the false prophet, Satan, and the rest of the sinners will go. And that's the choice we have, right? Let's continue.
It says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High God and the faith of Yeshua.
Right? So the testimony of Christ and the commandments of God, the 10 commandments of God, they go hand in hand. Right? So at the end of the day, the world will know of the mark of the beast and have to make a conscious decision on which side they will choose. We should remember that even in the scary times ahead, we better fear the Father regardless of what man may do and reject the mark, right? And it's clear why, because even after you get the mark, guess what? You have that everlasting torment after that. So there's really no relief for those that will receive it. And we know, sometimes Satan will look for us to save our lives for a moment and miss a whole time, a whole eternity. Right? And Christ says, those who look to save their life will what?
Lose it.
And those who lose what?
Their life for my name's sake.
Those who lose their life for his sake
will save it.
Will gain everlasting life. So we can't be offered this and look for the temporary fix. Kind of like, you remember Eliezer? Eliezer said, hold on, I can see, if I pretend to do this, I can save, but what example will I set for all the other believers? You see what I'm saying? So sometimes taking a stand and fighting can inspire a revolt, can inspire. Sometimes it just takes one of us to take a stand. And the rest of the believers say, you know what? We're standing together. If he don't take it, I ain't taking it. But the minute one of us fall, because remember, like even when the Most High would send us out to war, he says, hey, if there's somebody dealing with fear, send him home. Because that spirit would run through the camp. And all the men now would start to doubt and lack faith. And where there's no faith, I can't work. So it's the same mindset. Right? Well, let's bring this home.
We have the book of Matthew chapter 24, reading verses 20 to 24. It says, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time.
Go on.
No, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect.
Right? So we also understand that through technology, they're going to be doing signs and wonders. And we did touch on this, right? One of the projects that they have is called the Blue Beam Project. And through the Blue Beam Project, what they're looking to orchestrate, and you know what? When I read this, because Christ is saying, if they say I'm in the desert, don't go there. Don't go here, don't go here. So when I used to read that, I used to have the hardest time trying to fathom what do you mean if they say go here, don't follow them or whatnot. But then I realized the technology that they're coming out. The hologram technology, where they can make a whole building look like a basketball. And what they said in their military plans, that they said they would start to do fake invasions, or better yet, they would allow everybody to see, everybody who's connected to the grid or connected to the beast system, because I said they can control the mind. They would allow them to see whatever savior they identify with, they would be able to see them. So for instance, some of us who follow Christ, they would see Caesar Borgia pop up. I've returned, come follow me. For the Muslims, they'll see Muhammad. So this is one of the things that they said, and what they're planning to do with this is, obviously we know it's deception. So lead people to these places to say where the Messiahs come. Put it like this, if I want to capture the believers, I think that's an easy way. Christ is here, guys. All the believers are going to go there. Only to find out what? It's a military camp. It's an imprisonment. And that's why Christ says, don't follow that. And even when you continue to read, it tells you that's where the scavenger birds, when you see the ravens and the birds and whatnot, because that place will be filled with bodies. Right? So, as I said, these are some of the things they're rolling out, but I won't spend too much time going into details with that, right? Because those are lessons with themselves, but continue. But you can check this out. Just punch in Project Blue Beam, and you'll find videos that talk about that plan. Go on.
All right, the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5, reading verses 1 to 9. It says, but of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child.
Right, so they will sell the ideal of peace and safety. Like when we look at crypto and whatnot, they're selling the ideal that we can get rich. This is going to be convenient for the masses. Now you can make world-to-world transactions in seconds at a fraction of the cost. Because, for instance, to use the blockchain, like for instance, say if I want to send money from here to, let's say, Japan. The fees that you have to cost, that can cost you like what, $100 to $40 something, depending on the fees, the international fees and whatnot. Through this technology, I can send that money across the world for pennies. So a lot of people look at that, businesses are looking at it and said, hey, we're going to save a lot of money using this system. So they're going to sell it. Everything that they're implementing, they're going to sell it as this is going to make life better. We're doing great things. I mean, Trump just signed a bill and they called it the big, beautiful bill. And there's nothing beautiful about it. So they're going to be selling us, and many people are going to get the false notion or understanding that, guess what? We're about to see good times again. They're about to make a Canada, America, anywhere, it's going to get better. And the Bible says it's only going to get worse. So the more we hear peace, the more we hear stabilization, understand that the more we're getting closer to destruction and judgment. Right? Go on.
Then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Right, going back to that woman with child, travail like a woman, talking about those birth pains. Right, go on.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief.
Right, we're not in darkness. All of us, we have the playbook. We have the director's cut. So it's very important we read the manual and understand what to expect. And many of us, we've done that, and we understand what to expect before the return of our Lord and Savior. Because the Bible, remember, it tells us that the armies will come, assemble, Christ will break the atmosphere. They're going to look at him. They're going to be scared to fight against him. And out of, not even using no instrument, out of his mouth alone, all of them shall become ashes, dust, and destroyed through his mouth alone. So we understand. And Zion shall be manifested till we can read these things in the book. So we understand where this is going, right? We are not those in darkness. Go on.
Ye are the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation. For the Most High God hath appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yeshua the Anointed.
Right, so it says, stay alert, understand Satan is truly starting to play his hand, and the mark is creeping out into the open. While others sleep due to sinful confusion, we must see things coming and prepare our spirits for the true hour of temptation. Let's get 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 3.
All right, in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 3 to 11. It says, if any man teach otherwise and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Yeshua the Anointed, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but dotting about questions and strifes, of words whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmising, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself.
Right? Thinking, supposing that gain is godliness. And that is a false perception that's being taught in many churches.
Prosperity.
And that's the prosperity doctrine. Right? That gain means God is blessing you, when Satan can give us gain as well. Right? Go on.
But godliness with contentment is great gain.
But godliness with contentment, meaning whether we have it or we don't, understanding we're good regardless. Right? Go on.
For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain that we can carry nothing out.
Go on.
And having food and raiment, let us therewith be content.
Having food and raiment, and that is going to be key for the times ahead. Because we're heading into uncharted territories, Israel. A time where, guess what? You may only have 2 change of outfits, the shoes on your feet, bottle of water, piece of bread. But we got to learn to be content with it. And to be honest, some of us are coming, that's what we're coming from. Some of us are coming from piece of bread. Some of us, you know, they used to put on a piece of bread. I tried it once, but it wasn't really my thing. Sweet milk on a piece of bread. Some of us are coming from boiled dumpling and butter. You know what I'm saying? So, and we saw the Most High carry us through those times. Some of us who don't know nothing about that, you may want to find out something about that. Because we're heading in a time where, guess what? We're not going to have it all. We're not going to have the things that we've grown accustomed to and comfort in. So me, I have certain things that I have to, you know, my wife started cutting stuff off. And you know, and then my wife, she don't eat no meat, so she helps me to kind of, cut off certain things and get used to certain things and whatnot. But sometimes there's certain things in the fridge, and I'm like, honey, that's not in the fridge. She's like, I don't know what you're gonna do when society breaks down. And I can't argue that. I'm like, okay, be content, right? Be content with these little cookies here and whatever we have in the fridge. Well, go on.
And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. But thou, O man of God, flee these things, and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, and meekness.
All right, these are the things we need to follow. So our love of material things may mean our downfall if we are not careful. Society is based on materialism almost as a religion in itself, right? And we see that, right? The way how the vanity thing has become so predominant, it's like people won't listen to you, or people will listen to you based on what you have, based on what you wear, based on what you drive, right? I mean, I don't want to bring, no, we're not going to go there. But we understand people, I use, for instance, women. Based on the type of car you drive, may dictate the type of woman that likes you. Or you can even get her time. And you know, I used to watch these on YouTube all the time. You guys know those pranks?
Yes, gold digger pranks.
The gold digger pranks?
Yeah.
Where the guy's trying to talk to the girl normal, you know, trying to talk to her casual. The minute he jumps in the car, right?
Walks back to the car, runs back to the car.
And you see oh, I didn't know. I didn't know you know, things were going for you so good. Right? But that's the world we live in. And I'd be lying prior to, like I'm saying, in my old days, let me not put a timestamp on it in case my wife's trying to mark the time period. But clearly, honey, it's before I met you. I had a girl say to me, I like the car you drive. Most I had to take away that car eventually. I tell you guys what happened. I lost the car like a couple years later. Most I said, no, man. We have to take this away from you. But this is the world that we live in. The young youth, the young generation of today, guess what? If you don't have money, if you don't present yourself in a certain way, like for instance, if you have designer clothes on, oh yeah, they'll listen to you all day. You see if you look popped down?
Walmart's.
I don't listen to that person. And that's why, you know, a lot of them are looking at their parents and see that their parents work hard just to make a life for them. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to you. I'm not following your blueprint. And that's what happens. And then what does that lead to? The lack of respect for the parents. And then we know, remember the Bible says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be prolonged. Mm-hmm. But they're seeing their parents and saying, nah, I'm not following that. I want the quick way. I want the fast money. And I want to see what the rest of the world, or the rest of everyone who I look up to, what they have. And that becomes their role models. That becomes who they follow, who influences them. Right? But let me digress. So it says, let's get 2 Baruch.
All right, so we got the book of 2 Baruch, reading chapter 27, 1 to 15.
And let me read this first. So it says, remember, the mark of the beast will be their financial means of survival in the near future, so we must learn to trust the Father now and not trust in the money, right? And that's key, that we not trust in the money. And I know some of us, we have our hearts set, we did investments, we invested in some of these things because we understand where this is going. There's no stopping this. So some of us, we have done that, right? And that, you know, that can go into other conversations in itself. But the whole ideal is that we understand money is a defense. So if anything that we're expiring, saying, boy, let me do this, that to get a little bit of money, that money should be used to build a defense. But even with that being said, there's only so much defense we can build up before we kind of have to just let it go and leave it in the hands of the Most High. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much that, you know, land, rations, food. Eventually, if we just lean on that and don't have Christ and the Most High in our life, those things will fail us as well. Right? Let's get this stuff, 2 Baruch.
All right, 2 Baruch, 27, 1 to 15, and then we'll jump to 28 and 1.
Yeah.
And he answered and said unto me, and to 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part there shall be beginning of commotions, and in the second part there shall be slayings of the great ones, and in the third part the fall of many by death, and in the fourth part the sending of the sword, and in the fifth part famine.
Right, hold on, let me stop there. The fall of many by death. And then right after the fall of many by death, what happens after that?
And in the fifth part famine, and the withholding of rain.
No.
And the fourth part said in the sword.
Right? So after the multitude died, after that, the sword. Now, what's the sword? War. Now, I was reading one of these articles, and one of the articles, they said, guess what? In order to cover up all these massive deaths, because remember, in the last few years, we've seen people, athletes, celebrities, just randomly drop down and had cardiac arrest, and they're calling it sudden death syndrome. You guys, everyone, you guys seeing this, right? I know I'm seeing this. And it's still happening. But eventually, in order to get people to look away, so to speak, they got to send people out to war. Because war will be the thing that will cover up, it's the only thing that will cover up the mass deaths. Because people are already asking questions. Hold on, how come all these young people are just dying? Young people dying. They already ask what's going on and turn on the establishment. They have to send people out to war. And this is why we understand that what we see happening in the Middle East will be the thing that will lead to the final world war. We know this. It's written. It's in their plans and it's in the Bible. And we know we're governed by the Bible. Go on.
And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors, 8 wanton. And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attacks of Shittim. And in the ninth part, the fall of fire. And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity. And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid.
Right, so all these things are happening as we speak, but they're mingled. And I said, you'll see, let me drop a bomb in the east. All right, let me come back and let's sign a bill for the mark of the beast. They're doing all these things at the same time. Yeah. But what they do is, let's do something in the Middle East, and now you're looking over there. So while you're distracted over there and looking over there what's in the Middle East, guess what? They're over here signing something else. See, they understand the time is short, so they're moving this, and they called it warp speed. But every year, every month, a new policy is being rolled out. Acceptance of the Mark of the Beast technology. It's being accepted. It's being more normalized. It's becoming part of daily living, where we don't even realize the change is happening so subtle that we don't even realize it's changing. It's kind of like, well, not frogs, because we don't eat frogs, but you know that frog in the pot?
Mm-hmm. It's boiling in the pot and don't know he's boiling?
Yeah, I don't know he's boiling. You know, I can't think of anything else to put in the pot. Something lawful, but, you know, you guys know what I'm trying to say, right? Anyways, let's go.
For these parts of that time are reserved and shall be mingled one with another and minister one to another. For some shall leave out some of their own and receive in its stead from others. And some shall complete their own and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon earth in those days that this is the consummation of the times. Right. Nevertheless, whosoever understandeth shall then be wise.
Right, so whoever understands it and can see it for what it is will be wise. So this present world was described to Baruch without any errors, without any error, age ago. Right, I'm going to say that this was mentioned to him eons, ages ago, and still only the wise see what's going on. The rest are too consumed with sin, in most cases, to care about the warnings. And really and truly, this is why they keep us distracted. This is why they kind of keep us we're just trying to go to work and pay bills and survive and make it and put food on the table for our family, children. And, you know what I mean? That we have no time to really see what's going on. And that is by design. We live in a Western world where we are the most distracted people there is. TV shows. I mean, how much episodes do you watch? Sports. Lifestyles. So all of this is purpose to keep you distracted so that you can't see that you're in this boiling pot. And that's why every now and then we got to unplug get centered with the Most High, and just ask Him to give us the discernment and the eyes to see while we still have time to see. Right? Because this discernment is key. And that tabernacle give us that week to unplug, be outside of the construct. You know, and the frequency is so crazy in the city. Guess what? The frequency and the light pollution is so crazy that we can't even look up in the sky and see the stars. But when we leave the city, we unplug for that week, and it's just us and our God and the elements, which are controlled by our God. So we have nothing to fear. But it's a good time that we get to unplug and we get just the tip of the iceberg, because that's just a week. What will a year be? What will be a few years? Unplugged from this construct. I think those are the years where we're really going to be enlightened. We're really going to see the Spirit of the Most High really move amongst the camp, move amongst the body, right? But the reality is we're still plugged. You know, we still got some of the attachments of this construct with us that we have to eventually separate, right? But let's bring this home.
The book of 2 Timothy is chapter 2, 19 to 22.
And this is our final scripture here.
It says, nevertheless, the foundation of the Most High God standeth sure, having this seal, the Most High knoweth them that are his. And let everyone that nameth the name of Christ Yeshua depart from iniquity. But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work. Flee also youthful lust, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace, and with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart.
Right, so it tells us to put down the youthful lust and grow in the Spirit so that Satan doesn't destroy you or doesn't destroy us, and keep you as a slave carrying his mark. Be a careful or a useful vessel to the Father, Most High Ahaya, and follow after righteousness. And with that being said, family, Shabbat Shalom. Right? That's the end of our lesson.